Hi Stampers! I've got another cute little Halloween treat box to show you today. The other day I showed you the little Tic Tac holder, so if you haven't had a chance to check out that tutorial, be sure to do so. But today I wanted to show you this little cute box that you could fill with whatever goodie or treats you want to for a fun and cute little gift. Now let me show you the different supplies you're going to need to make this. First of all, the green cardstock is Lucky Limeade, and this piece that I'm going to be using is 8.5 by 5.5. We're going to be using the Petite purse die. I know you can't see it real well, but you will in a minute when we use this die with the Big Shot. The stamp set we're going to be using is Monster Munchies. We're going to use this image here. And then you'll also need some sort of ribbon. I used the pumpkin pie, this thin taffeta ribbon. I think it's 1/8 of an inch taffeta ribbon in pumpkin pie. So let's get started. The first thing we're going to do is take our piece of Lucky Limeade cardstock and we want to run it through the Big Shot. So I'm first just going to lay that piece here. Let me get my Big Shot into view. I've got the die with the paper on top, and now we're going to put a cutting pad on the top and the bottom. And we're going to run that through. This is another good little gift item that you can make many of ahead of time. Now, when your pieces come out, first of all, this is the little handle for the purse. We're not going to use that. This is just our extra. And here's what it looks like cut out. So let me move that aside for the moment. And we're going to use the Big Shot again in just a moment to emboss it. But the first thing I want to do is you'll notice this is the front flap of the purse die, and we're going to actually just use our scissors and cut that off. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to get my chevron embossing folder. Looks like this. We're going to use that with the Big Shot, and what we're going to do is sandwich our little box template in here. And I'm not really worried about the edges. As long as the majority of it is embossed, this is what we're looking for. Alright, so here's our Big Shot again. Oops, I put that in the wrong place, but that's alright. Kind of a tight spot here. Now we're going to get our multi-purpose platform. This is what takes up our extra space in the Big Shot. And I'm going to open this up so we're not using any tabs. Our cutting pad goes next. Then our embossing folder with the paper inside. And then the other cutting pad. We're going to run that through. Alright. Isn't that cute? Such a cute embossing folder. This is the chevron one, if I didn't say that already. I probably had, but just to make sure you know. Alright, now what I would suggest is just kind of go back kind of to where those original score lines were, and I'm just going to bend it a little so I can make sure of how the box is going to fold up. And you kind of already see how it's beginning to take shape. I like to do kind of a dry fit like this so I can decide what is going to be considered the front, what's going to be considered the back. And really either way it doesn't matter because you're going to be covering up one side or the other. So I'm going to say that this is my front, so I'm going to lay it down flat. I found that it was actually easier if we go ahead and adhere these little ribbons onto the front while you have something to kind of work with to press it down to. So I'm going to start with putting a little bit of adhesive there in the middle. And again, remember our adhesive is going to be covered up by our image. And see if this side's a little bit longer than that. So let's take it off and do it again. In the end, also, just so you know, I didn't really measure these little pieces of ribbon. I just kind of guessed because in the end I used my scissors while these are on the box to kind of trim them up to get them looking the way I want. It doesn't matter if it's One's longer than the other or so. All right. Okay, so that is basically the front part of the box. And now what we're going to do is we're going to adhere the box together. I almost forgot my good old red sticky strip. You're going to need something a little bit heavier on these tabbed pieces. Now the only trick here is to not let those ribbon guys get caught in that. But I'm going to put one there and a strip here. I love all these little boxes with the big shot that you could put together. All right, so then we're going to take off that to expose our adhesive. And let's fold this side up first. And there's one side. And here's what I was talking about. When you pull that red off, just make sure that you don't get that ribbon stuck to it. But it shouldn't be a problem. We're going to go like that. All right, so we've got the base of the box done. And like I said, we can figure out the ribbons here in a minute. But now what we're going to do is take our image, our stamped image. I've stamped it on very vanilla using the black Stays-On ink pad. And I'm going to get my big shot back into view because we are going to use the framelits to cut that out. The shape of this is from the Apothecary Accents framelits. So we're going to use our multi-purpose platform again with everything closed. Have a cutting pad. Here's the Apothecary Accents framelits. Look at all these that you get in here. You really get a nice variety of shapes. So I'm going to put that down and then just line this up the way I want it. Put my other cutting pad on top. Run it through. And that just pops out like that. The last thing I did is I had some of the orange pumpkin pie ink. Still got a little bit left on my sponge. Usually you just dab it on your ink pad, but I still had a lot on there. Just to give it a little bit extra. You can go darker or lighter. All right, and we're going to add a couple dimensionals, and put it on the front of our box. Oops, there we go. There we go, and there's a very cute, and then the other thing I did is just take my scissors, ta-da, go like that. I'm kind of going at a diagonal. There we go. And these little pieces of black inside, all that is some extra cardstock that I cut in strips and crumpled it up. But you have got a cute, fun project for Halloween. Thanks so much, and happy stamping!